The Oyo Empire, a powerful realm that thrived from the 17th to the 19th century in present-day southwest Nigeria, carved out its dominion through the might of its formidable cavalry units. The Oyo's seat of power was situated at Old Oyo, near the Niger River. Their ascendancy was marked by regional trade prosperity and a prominent role in the transportation of slaves from Africa's interior to the coast, where awaiting European ships facilitated this harrowing commerce. This region became renowned as the Slave Coast due to the enormity of the human trade. However, the Oyo Empire eventually yielded to the expanding Islamic states in the north, leading to its fragmentation into smaller rival chiefdoms by the mid-19th century. The Oyo Kingdom's origins trace back to the Yoruba people states in the southern coastal area of West Africa, particularly modern-day Nigeria. According to oral traditions, the Oyo claimed descent from an exiled king of Ife, another significant city-state. The founder of the Oyo state, Oranmiyan, son of Oduduwa, the founder of Ife, played a pivotal role in establishing this kingdom. Cultural connections between the Oyo, Ife, and Benin are evident in their art, emphasizing a shared heritage rooted in ancient Nigerian cultures such as the Nok culture. The Oyo's economic prosperity was facilitated by trade, connecting northern states like Hausaland and, to the south, engaging with Portuguese, British, French, and Dutch traders eager to participate in the lucrative commerce of the region. The Oyo Empire capitalized on a diverse environment, leveraging resources like okra, yams, dates, palm oil, fish, and iron-smelting technology for tools and weapons. Trade also involved kola nuts, pepper, ivory, gold, and slaves. By the 18th century, the Oyo Empire, alongside the Kingdom of Dahomey and the Kingdom of Benin, played a pivotal role in the transatlantic slave trade, earning the coastal region the infamous label of the Slave Coast. The Oyo's involvement was essential in coordinating the movement of slaves from the interior to the coast, serving as a command infrastructure for this grim trade. Despite downplayed oral traditions, the Oyo Empire utilized slaves within its state structures, notably in administrative and military roles. This contrasted with other states in the region and underscored the complex dynamics of the Oyo's historical legacy. The Oyo Empire, despite not boasting many large towns, expanded its dominion significantly through the prowess of its formidable cavalry and archers. This expansion was fueled by their extensive commercial reach, stretching northward to the trans-Saharan trade routes. As a result, the Oyo Kingdom extended its influence to encompass areas in the southwest and the savannah to the north, absorbing territories from neighboring Borgu and Nupe states. The Nupe briefly captured Old Oyo around 1535, but the Oyo kings reclaimed it by 1610. Vassal states like Owu in the south and Ede to the southeast emerged as the Oyo Empire reached its zenith in the first half of the 17th century, eventually conquering 13 rival kingdoms. The driving force behind this territorial expansion was the desire to control lucrative regional trade routes facilitating the transportation of salt, gold, and slaves. Coastal areas engaging in trade with European sailing vessels held particular significance. Challenges arose, such as forested regions inhabited by the Ijesha, where the Oyo cavalry proved ineffective, and the presence of the dangerous tsetse fly. The Ekiti in the hilly northern border, and the formidable Kingdom of Benin in the east also posed obstacles to Oyo ambitions. The Oyo Empire adopted cultural practices from rivals, incorporating the prominent ancestor worship of the Nupe into their religious traditions. However, the Oyo faced formidable opponents in their quest for control over trade routes. The Kingdom of Dahomey to the west engaged in conflicts with the Oyo Empire, culminating in a war between 1726 and 1730, eventually won by the Oyo. Dahomey acknowledged Oyo's political authority, leading to the Oyo Empire claiming some Dahomey coastal conquests. Despite achieving regional dominance, the Oyo Empire encountered a formidable adversary to the north in the expanding Islamic states of the 18th and 19th centuries. Islamic invasions disrupted Oyo's trade and exposed vulnerabilities in its political structure. Internal conflicts between the ruling council of elders and the military leader persisted throughout the 18th century, reflecting a struggle between advocates of peaceful trade and proponents of military expansion. In the 1820s, the storm of change arrived with the militant Muslim Fulani. The northern part of the Oyo Empire, Ilorin, fell to the Fulani, becoming the Fulani Emirate of Ilorin, an outpost of the Sokoto Caliphate. This loss triggered a domino effect, leading to the fragmentation of the Oyo Empire into smaller states. The ensuing competition and warfare between these states had dire consequences for the Yoruba peoples, who until then had largely avoided being enslaved. However, with the political decline, they became the majority of those captured and shipped to the Americas until the abolition of the slave trade in the 1850s. In 1861, the region that is now the state of Nigeria became a British colony, and by 1900 the protectorates of North and South Nigeria were established. These protectorates joined in 1914, forming a federation in 1954, and ultimately gained independence in 1960. Following the fragmentation of the Oyo Empire and the subsequent political decline, the Yoruba people faced a turbulent period marked by internal conflicts and external pressures. The 19th century saw the rise of the militant Muslim Fulani, whose conquest of Ilorin, a northern part of the Oyo Empire, weakened the once mighty empire. Ilorin became the Fulani Emirate and an outpost of the Sokoto Caliphate, further altering the political landscape of the region. The disintegration of the Oyo Empire into smaller states unleashed a wave of competition and warfare among these entities. This internal strife, coupled with the external threat posed by the Fulani, created a power vacuum and weakened the Yoruba people's ability to resist external pressures. The consequences of this political unraveling were particularly devastating for the Yoruba population. Previously, they had largely avoided being captured and enslaved, but with the decline of the Oyo Empire, they became vulnerable to the transatlantic slave trade. Many Yoruba individuals were captured and shipped to the Americas, contributing to the tragic chapter of the African diaspora. In the wake of these challenges, the 19th century witnessed the emergence of powerful Islamic states in the northern regions, expanding their influence further south. This shift in power dynamics had a profound impact on the political and cultural landscape of the Yoruba people. By the mid-19th century, European colonial powers began to assert their influence on the African continent. In 1861, the region that encompasses present-day Nigeria became a British colony. The imposition of colonial rule brought significant changes to the social, political, and economic structures of the area. In 1900, the British established the protectorates of North and South Nigeria, further consolidating their control over the region. These protectorates were eventually amalgamated in 1914 to form a single political entity known as Nigeria. The new political entity operated as a federation in 1954 and gained independence from British colonial rule in 1960. The story of the Oyo Empire, its rise to regional dominance, subsequent decline, and the far-reaching consequences for the Yoruba people illustrates the complex interplay of internal and external forces shaping the history of West Africa. From the heights of territorial expansion and cultural exchange to the challenges posed by external invasions and the slave trade, the Oyo Empire's legacy is intertwined with the broader narrative of African history and the eventual emergence of independent nations on the continent.